Hello and welcome to the show, season 5. I'm so pumped to have you here with me. If you've been following me along on Instagram, you'll know that I've got some major changes happening over on the podcast here, in my life, all over the place. And in this episode, I want to explain why the changes and what sparked them and what is going to happen going forward. So, welcome to the Jackie Tann podcast. I'm going to tell you what's been happening. So, let's do this. Hello, welcome back to the show. It's no longer the Bodies Built Better podcast, and I'm going to explain all of that today on this episode. It's episode 1 of season 5. Can you believe that? I definitely did not think that would happen in my wildest dreams when I set out to do this podcast. In fact, when I set out to do this, it wasn't really a podcast that I had in mind. It was just to help people or help my clients get through COVID back in 2020. And here we are 4 years later in season 5, and it has just been the most extraordinary journey. I've learnt so much. I look back at my, like the first, let's be honest, first 3 seasons and I cringe. I'm just like, wow. I hear it and I'm so proud of how far I've come and what I've learnt. And, my interviewing style has evolved. And it's just, whilst I say that, like, I have evolved everything in every way, and I'm no longer the person I was back then, and I understand that no one is. We're never the same person we were a year ago or 2 years ago or even more, and so that's kind of the premise and the reason behind this entire rebrand of the podcast. I have named it the Jackie Tann podcast. Yes, it felt incredibly wanky. It took me a very, very, very long time to come to that decision to want to change it to my name. But I'll be honest with you, I resisted so hard, and I was coming up with all these different names, and I would search for them and they were all taken. Or there was like an iteration of the name. And I'm just like, no, I don't want people to get confused with another show. So what's the best way to do that? Well, just name it after you. So here we are, the Jackie Tann podcast. It is a complete rebrand. If you haven't seen the podcast cover, check it out. Let me know what you think. The colors are different. Everything's different. So I really feel like it represents me and my energy and my vibe. And not that the Bodies Built Better podcast didn't. It was just different, and it suited, who I was and what I was doing, in that period. And now I feel like I really want to, show up. Not that I've never showed up authentically, but there has been a feeling of that disconnect. Like, this is the podcast and this is me trying to do the thing. And now I feel like it's all kind of integrated into one, and it kind of merges. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing. I'm not sure if that's how you should be doing it, but it feels better for me. And it's just, it's nice to be able to have something that feels like it's literally an extension of me and who I am, and not only my interests, but I'm so curious, right? Like, I love to discover not so much new things, but how we do things and how we all do it differently, and how we move through life is so different. And that's what blows my mind, how there's so many paths to get to a place, and we all take different ones, and we all end up, sometimes in the same place. like it's the human experience, right? And that's what I am truly passionate about. For me, it's always been about human performance, and that is what the foundation of this show is, because I truly believe, you know, I want to be showing up as my best self every day. So I'm going to figure out all of the things in which I can do that. And sometimes those things aren't as obvious. So, yes, I've talked a lot about the physical side of performance, the mental side of performance. We've gone a little bit into the emotional side of performance. If you're suppressing emotions, how that impacts the way you show up, how it impacts the way you can train or perform. So we've dived a little into that, and I want to explore that. Oh, actually, no, we've dived a lot into that. Those are the things we've talked about on the Bodies Built Better podcast, and I still want to talk about those things, but I want to branch out, because there's so many things, like I said before, that I really believe impact the way we show up and our performance, and we wouldn't think they do. So, like, for example, I believe being creative impacts the way I show up. It impacts my performance, because if I'm not able to have a creative outlet, then that's really hard for me to explore what my potential is. And when I say creative, it doesn't mean I'm getting an easel out and my paints and painting something. That's not what creativity, I mean, it is a part of creativity, but it's not, that's not it, all of it. Like, just art is not the only way to be creative. There was a beautiful quote in Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Way. And it just came to me now. So I didn't plan this. Don't plan much. And so I'm probably going to butcher this, but he was basically saying that we're creative in our life every day. We're creative in the path that we take to work. If there's a road blockage, we need to figure out a different way to get to work. So we're using our creativity in that instance. We use creativity when we show up to an event and there's people there that we don't know and we need to create conversation. We are using our creativity to bring up conversations. And so if you're not able to express or use creativity, I think that you're not able to tap into what is possible. And that's the essence of the show. Like, what is untapped within us? I think so much, right? And that's the point. And how can we tap into that? How can we use different aspects of life, of human experience, to be able to tap deep into that and explore something that we've never explored? And that's both really exciting and also really gosh dang scary. And so, how do we move through fear, right, to get to what we're truly capable of? And are we afraid of what we're capable of? Like, we haven't been there before. So, what are we going to find when we do? And what does it take to find that? So these are all the questions I have, and I'm so excited to dive deeper into them. And I love to have conversations. Like I said, it's with the athlete, it's with the mum next door bringing up 4 kids. It is with the business owner who has just started and is living their dream, but it's really fucking hard as well. Like, how do you move through each day showing up as your best self, giving yourself to others, to your business, to your career? I want to know all of the things, and I'm so excited to be able to have more of those conversations, deeper conversations, and that's why I felt like I had to change the name of the show, because it helps me to, or it makes me feel like I can dive into those stories. So I won't speak any further. I feel like I've covered, the reason behind the whole rebrand and this change. And, we can be so afraid of change, but I'm really trying to embrace it. And I hope you are able to embrace change in your life. It is gosh dang hard at times, and you know, we don't like change. I mean, I think that's the only certain thing in life, though. We are creatures of habit, and we are creatures that need to know what's going to happen. And when things are uncertain, there's a lot of fear around that. But I guess if you reframe it and look at it in the sense that what we know for certain is that change will always happen. And so if we can build ourselves or build our resilience and build ourselves up in a way that is able to move through change in a more positive way, in a more meaningful way, in a more intentional way, then gosh, that is exciting, and what is possible when we do that. So I'm pumped. I hope you are. I would love to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts on the podcast cover, on the fact that I've changed everything, the colors, the music. Are you into the music? I love the music. I got to say, like every time I hear it come on, I'm like, yeah. Like, I have to get a bit of a groove on. I love it. So I'd love to hear what you think of it. Get in touch. You can either, well, it depends on where you're hearing this and listening to this or watching this. If you're on your favorite podcast platform, then head over to Instagram. That's where I'm mostly active. Let me know there. Screenshot the cover. Tell me what you think. Tag me in your stories. Tell me your thoughts. Be gentle. I think it's awesome. Look, at the end of the day, I've got to be happy with it. I'm super pumped if you're happy with it. So tell me. Head over to Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, hi. Thanks for being here. Press subscribe wherever it is down below. And like and let me know your thoughts on the change, and if you're going through any changes and how you're managing that, leave us a comment below. And look, I'm so pumped for this season, where it's going to go, who we're going to talk to, what we're going to talk about, all of the things. Can't wait. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for being here.